This Rise and Shine podcast series has been made possible by the generosity of the Zeidelman Family Foundation, which is committed to the unity and continuity of the Jewish people through meaningful and relevant Jewish education and wisdom.
As we head towards the end of the Gregorian calendar year, along with all its resolutions, there is one factor that often derails our best laid plans and aspirations. And that is taking on too much too quickly.
This is Rise and Shine, a podcast that offers timeless wisdom and uplifting meditations to fill your heart, feed your soul, and start your day on a positive note. Here is Adrienne Gold Davis.
When my kids were younger, they had this obsession with Michael Jordan, the basketball phenom, and the role model of perseverance. In particular, they had this poster that said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I have failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." Michael Jordan was a healthy role model who seemed to understand the ancient wisdom of King Solomon, who told us that the righteous man falls 7 times and gets up, which means that intrinsic to righteousness is the falling down, and especially the getting back up. And as Albert Einstein understood it too, he said, "It's not that I'm so much smarter, it's that I stay with problems longer." Jewish texts are filled with timeless wisdom for living. So why is it that we can hear it from our sports heroes and we're a little less inclined to listen to the sages? Why doesn't the average kid revere these wise and insightful teachers? Do we need our lessons to be delivered through cultural icons instead? Is it because we believe that since we could never be as great as they are, that we have permission to just gasp in awe at what they say and they do, but we don't feel the need to change because, after all, how could we possibly compare? Is it actually possible that the very thing that makes us listen to our heroes also gives us permission to shirk our efforts to emulate them? I fell in love with Judaism as a grown woman, a woman who had searched every imaginable operating system and life hack for serenity and growth. There were no out-of-bounds areas for me. I was determined to suck the marrow out of life, and to this day, I do believe there is something to learn and grow from in every corner of the universe. I looked everywhere before I found in my own backyard a treasure trove of wisdom for living that would come to inform the worldview and the lenses that I wore as an adult, and I know I'm not alone. Aspirational advertising and an addiction to memes and self-help gurus tells me that at a certain point, we're all looking to be better, to actualize our full potential, to liberate our souls. We subscribe and listen and read and post, but rarely do we see any substantive change in ourselves or our actions or our reactions. As we head towards the end of the Gregorian calendar year, along with all its resolutions, there is one factor that often derails our best laid plans and aspirations, and that is taking on too much too quickly. Once again, long before 12-step programs told us one day at a time, our sages understood this. Maimonides, the great Jewish commentator, named Moshe ben Maimon in his book, The Guide to the Perplexed, says the following: "A sudden transition from one opposite to another is impossible, and therefore man, according to his nature, is not capable of abandoning suddenly all to which he was accustomed." What a powerful and liberating statement. So, how do we take pleasure in our small steps towards greatness without feeling discouraged and disheartened? How do we short-circuit the urge towards passive acceptance of the place we're holding at, even while knowing that if we change nothing, then nothing changes? So there's this glorious Torah quote that gives us the answer to this question. It's one of my very favorites. The Midrash, a Midrash is the stories that fill in between the lines of the Torah texts. In the Midrash of Song of Songs, it says this: "Open up for me an opening like the eye of a needle, and in turn I will enlarge it to be an opening through which wagons can enter." The message here from our Creator is simple. You don't have to do it all, not all at once. But if you begin, if you make a small opening to allow God consciousness and the spiritual yearnings for greatness to enter, then you will have divine help in getting there. Not long ago, I read a story about a group of addicts in rehab who were put through an exercise of going through a maze of green hedges. They were blindfolded as they were led through silently by guides, hoping to get out through an exercise of both perseverance and trust. But she remained hopelessly lost. Finally, after an exhausting and demoralizing hour, she quietly asked her private guide to help her, and then she was immediately let out of the maze, only discovered that there was no actual exit, that the whole purpose of the exercise was for her to ask for help, and that the moment she did, the guide would lead her to freedom. As we work towards fulfilling our desires to become the most that we can be, we must recognize that we can't do it all at once, and certainly not all on our own. We need to ask for help in the form of accountability partners and of small, measurable steps to lead us to our destinations. This week, can you create a SMART goal? SMART stands for specific, measurable, assignable, realistic, and time-related. Instead of a resolution, can you open an aperture like the eye of a needle, feeling confident that by taking these steps, you will receive the divine assistance that you need? Because we're all wandering through some sort of a maze or another. We all need to ask for help, and we'll all fall 7 times or more. Take it from Michael Jordan, that GOAT that he is. You will fail over and over and over in your life, and that is why you will succeed. Where there is much effort, there is so much reward.
Thanks for listening to Rise and Shine. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to Momentum Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Join Adrienne again next time for more timeless wisdom and uplifting meditations that fill your heart, feed your soul, and start your day on a positive note.
This podcast was sponsored by the Zeidelman Family Foundation. Spread the wisdom. Inspire Jewish individuals around the globe by supporting Momentum's podcasts. To sponsor, contact podcast@momentumunlimited.org. You're listening to a Momentum podcast. For unlimited inspiration, wisdom, and empowerment, visit momentumunlimited.org.